Hello, welcome. So today we are not live streaming because for some reason with my new phone, it's not allowing me to live stream. It's okay. That is okay. So this live stream is all about why. Why are we as human beings afraid of being seen, being visible, being successful? Because I don't care who you are, you have some level of fear in your nervous system where you are afraid to go to the next level. You're afraid to be fully seen, fully expressed, fully in your life force, and fully yourself. How do I know this? Because when I look around, not everybody on the planet is fully living their most vibrant life as their most authentic self. A lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people are just doing the grind. They're doing the 9 to 5. They're doing what they think they're supposed to be doing. But the truth is, and what my mission is to help people to come back to who God created them to be so that they live juicy, vibrant, freaking lives where they are turned on completely. Yes, I mean turned on by life. And they are doing what they were created to do, okay? And this is not to shame anyone for wherever anyone is on their life path, because the only way that I have gotten to where I am today is because of all the iterations of the Mandys that I have been to get me to where I am right now. But I do want to talk about this today because there are reasons why we have a fear of success, and there are also ways that we can get out of this, that we can break the ceiling on it. And then no matter where you come from, no matter how many times you have failed or tried, or where your starting point is right now, or maybe you feel like the chips are against you, you don't understand, I don't have any money, I don't have that. No matter where you are, you have the ability to change your life, to transform. And I believe 100% that you can teach an old dog new tricks. You need a certain few ingredients in order to do this. Someone needs to have open-mindedness, they need to be willing, they need to be honest, and anyone can cultivate those characteristics if they really want to. So in this video, I am going to go over why it can feel unsafe for us to have success, why it can feel unsafe for us to be completely visible, to be completely known. The real reason you are afraid to be seen, and it's not necessarily what you think, okay? Most people think, okay? They think that they're not succeeding. They think that they're afraid of failure. They think that they're just not capable of doing that thing. I remember when I was a little girl and I used to look at all these little girls on Star Search. Yes, this dates me back to a long time ago when I was watching Star Search. The little girls would get up and they would belt out these songs, and I would be sitting there in my living room in this small town where I grew up, and I'd be thinking, they are different than me. They have the money, they have the looks, they have all the ingredients that I will never have to be able to get up on that stage, to sing, to be famous, to pursue their goals, to pursue their dreams. And I was wrong. I was so wrong, because the difference between me and that little girl was just that their behavior was different than mine. Their thinking was different than mine. And they had a certain upbringing. Maybe they had mentors or people in their life that really believed in them, and then therefore they were on stage and they were singing. But I was comparing myself to these little girls, and I was wanting so badly to do something like that, but I was painfully scared to do it, to be visible, and to be visible being not so perfect, because usually on the journey to mastery, we fall about 1,000,000 times. So if you're not falling or failing, then that means you're actually not trying and you're not on the road to succeeding. You should be falling and failing over and over and over. God knows that I have. Our deepest fear actually is that if we're seen, then we're not going to be able to go back to hiding, to go back to being small, right? And so why would we think this? Why would we want this? And really, it's mostly about there's so many layers to this, right? So there's billions of videos probably out there on YouTube, and there's podcasts, and there's all kinds of education about this, right? So this is like my unique take on it, my unique story about this whole thing, and how I have gone from being absolutely painfully shy, beyond what you can even imagine, to having been able to realize a dream in my 40s, to be able to be the lead singer in a rock band, to be able to produce videos on YouTube, to be able to lead groups of people in person through frameworks. And that is no short of a miracle. Someone like me who used to hide and be afraid of being visible, afraid of being herself, afraid of being authentically me. And so I would hide behind alcohol. I would hide behind all kinds of things because I was so terrified to really be myself, to really be seen. Why is that? So what I want to get into is why people can fear these things, and we're also going to talk about how we can transcend this, okay? So this has to do a lot with our nervous system. We don't avoid success. We don't often avoid things because we're avoidant. I don't like to slap labels on people because that puts people in a fixed state. And I don't believe that anything in this entire universe is in a fixed state. We are constantly evolving. I mean, all this education with science talking about how our cells, and we're constantly regenerating, and everything is expanding and contracting, and we're just an evolving universe, okay? So nothing is in a fixed state. So be careful of putting labels on things. Sometimes labels can be good to define things or make sense of things within a certain season, so you can like figure out context of like, okay, why am I acting in the way that I'm acting? But it doesn't mean you're gonna act like that for the rest of your life. You can transcend patterns. You can transcend habits if you just bring awareness and different behaviors and bring in different mindsets. All right, so often what's happening is we're not avoidant, we're not procrastinators, we're not lazy. It's just that our nervous systems, which are powerful things and very important when it comes to mostly everything, our nervous system feels like it's a threat. If we were to be visible, if we were to be seen, if we were to have a certain amount of money, a certain amount of success, a certain amount of love, a certain amount of depth in a relationship, all of these things, fill in the blank, it would on some level register as a threat, which may or may not make sense to the logical brain. And so then therefore what will happen subconsciously, we don't even know that a lot of this is going on behind the scenes, but subconsciously what we can do is we can get ourselves into a self-protection mode, because when something feels threatening, we will automatically, whether we realize it or not, we will automatically want to put ourselves into the safe zone. So a lot of times, and this has been the case for me, now this is not necessarily going to apply to everyone. I'm speaking to a specific kind of group of people who maybe grew up in a certain way. And underneath everything, we as humans, we're very similar. But sometimes different things can present themselves very differently. For instance, I'll just go off on a tangent because I love tangents. When I was in my eating disorder, I was bulimic. So I've always been about the same size. I'm about 5'6" and I weigh about 130, give or take 5 pounds, but I've always been in that range. I was off the charts, not healthy when it came to food. So if you put me next to someone who was obese and 500 pounds, I had the same exact problem with food. I had a bad relationship with food as this person next to me that was rather large. But did I look like I had a problem, right? But it's the same thing. We both had a problem, an unhealthy relationship with our body, mind, and spirit. And we were using food perhaps as a drug, as a coping mechanism, in not such a great way. We learned it when we were young as a way to feel safe, and it presented itself very differently and manifested itself differently in this person as it did in me. However, we were both experiencing some suffering when it came to food, right? So we're very similar, but different, right? So this person who was obese might have to change some behaviors a little bit differently than me, as someone who used to stuff her face like crazy and then binge her food up very violently. So we might need different modalities, different kind of recovery programs, but it's an underlying problem that's pretty similar, right? So human beings, we are very, very similar. But take what you want, whatever I have to say, leave the rest. But this is often a nervous system thing, is we don't feel safe because maybe when you were growing up, and I can say this is the case for me, when I would get attention, I would also feel judgment. When I would be really visible, like on stage performing, then I would feel a tangible jealousy from certain people, and that didn't feel good. I didn't know as a little girl how to manage the feelings and emotions around this. And so therefore I would register this. My nervous system would register this as a threat. And then in order for me to feel connected to humans, to feel like a part of the tribe, which is a primal thing, then I would register, oh no, being visible equals someone being jealous, and that means that I won't be part of the tribe. I won't be welcome. I'll be ousted out of the tribe. People won't like me. They'll reject me. I will be abandoned. I will be alone. And as a little girl, or even as an adult, abandonment, rejection from the tribe, from your community, from your people, from the people that you need in your life. We need people. We need to have a sense of belonging. So that feeling of rejection, of judgment, of if you stand out, if you shine, that might actually equal that you will lose connection. And I'm not saying that this is always the case, but often this is what can happen. And so early on, we get programmed deep into our nervous system to register these things as unsafe. So what are we going to do? Because our systems are wise, we are going to want to put ourselves into a safe environment, into a place of homeostasis and balance, so our nervous systems don't get completely wrecked. So what that might look like is staying small, shrinking, okay? How am I not going to be rejected? Oh, I know, I won't shine. I'll dim my light. I'll make this whole community of people feel comfortable. I won't step out and do that thing. I won't allow myself to fully come on board with my life force energy because I might make a certain group of people uncomfortable. And I want to stop here for a second because I am leading a group of people here on the island of Oahu, and we're going through the book, The Artist's Way. If you have not picked up this book has sold over 5 million copies, probably more than that at this point. I can't say enough about this book. You are an artist. Yes, every single person on this planet is a brilliant creator, a brilliant artist. You don't have to paint or write poems in order to be an artist. You are a creator made in the image of God to create beautiful things. Children, paintings, businesses, buildings, dishes, recipes, whatever. Make love. There's so many things that you can create. So I'm leading a group, and this week we are on week 5. This is one of my favorite weeks through this book. This is the 4th time that I have facilitated a group to go through this process, and this is like the 7th time that I've gone through this book. And so I want to just stop here, and I want to read a paragraph to you, because this is, just listen to this. First of all, we must believe that we are allowed to catch the bus. We come to recognize that God is unlimited in supply and that everyone has equal access. This begins to clear up any guilt about having or getting too much. Just because that person over there got a big slice of the pie and they have a lot of money and a lot of success, that does not mean that there's not much pie. It's an interesting thing, this universe. There's so much pie. When you get a slice, it doesn't disappear. The pie is still there for you to grab more. There's a part in the Bible that basically says something about the talents. The more talents that this person was given and that they did something with them, the more they got. It was the person that took the talent and hid it, that then, because of that scarcity mentality, the scarcity and ended up producing more scarcity. We have to realize that we're in a universe of kind of like laws, right? So since everyone, including you, including me, everyone can draw on the universal supply, we deprive no one with our abundance, with our success, with our amount of money, with our amount of talents or things that we can do on this planet. We are not denying anyone of anyone's abundance. If we learn to think of receiving God's good as being an act of worship, cooperating with God's plan to manifest goodness in our lives, we can begin to let go of having to sabotage ourselves. My good friend, whoever you are listening to this, it's not because you're procrastinating or you're not capable or you're stupid or you're wrong or you're not destined to have an amazingly delicious life or it's something you did bad in your life or you have to try harder. It's probably just maybe something you learned and it's in your nervous system and it's not logical. It doesn't even make any sense. And unless we do the inner work, and this is what I'll get to because I have a method, it's called the CREATE method. It goes through 6 steps. And this is how you get from this place to this place. How I got from someone who I can't even begin to tell you how many years I have lived in scarcity mindset, in poverty thinking, in paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. And if you look at my family of origin, or if you just kind of look at the chips that were against me, one might say, wow, I don't even know if she even stands a chance. Years of addiction, years of an eating disorder, years of chronic pain, years of migraines, years of low self-esteem, the bottom of the barrel. It doesn't make sense why I would be able to be abundant and thrive and lead groups and living in Oahu, living in Hawaii in my literal dream studio. And if I would have heard something like this before, I would have been like jealous, I would have been curious, I would have had all these feelings, and I would have hated myself because on some level I would have thought that it wasn't possible for me. But it is possible for anyone, like we just read. Abundance. Abundance is possible for every single person. Okay, so I want to get into identity. So identity is a big thing that I talk about a lot. When you really think about like what is my identity, who do I think I am, and where did that form, and how did that form, and should it change, and should there be some things that I should continue to have as a part of my identity, or are there some things that I just need to completely discard, or do I need to just like kind of burn the whole thing down? So it's not that you're afraid of success, it's that a part of you probably still believes, and see if you align or resonate with any of the following. If I become fully myself, if I am fully myself, and I'm talking like your whole personality, what you truly believe, your honest, just the honesty of who you really are. Like for instance, me, I feel like some days I'm someone who could go to church and want to just like worship Jesus, and then on other days I want to take out my tattoo machine and smother my entire body with tattoos, go wear leather, go to an EDM concert, and I want to just go absolutely wild. And it's like, how do you have all of those different kinds of people all in one person? Just be yourself. Just be yourself. If I fully become myself, then what might happen? A lot of us have a program inside of us, whether we know it or not, that says, well, I might lose love. I might actually lose belonging. I might lose connection. So then what do? We shrink, we overthink, we self-sabotage, we stay in preparation mode rather than expression mode. If I could just explain to you, and maybe you understand this, how much of my life I have stayed in preparation mode rather than just fully expressing, I can sit here for hours and days writing and preparing and rebranding my website, rebranding the banner on my YouTube channel, different iterations of my Instagram bio like 50 times a day. I can do a billion different things on Canva, just trying to make my website look perfect, and then I never actually turn on the video. I never actually press play. I never actually express and do the thing, because I'm just procrastinating. Because why? Is it because I'm lazy? Is it because I'm incapable? I'm not meant to do this. I'm just not destined to do this. I'm not good enough. If I just read one more book, if I just make one more iteration of the branding, then I'll be perfect enough, and then I'll get the bio right, and then I'll be able to do the thing. This is all because you're afraid to be visible. This is all because you're afraid to be yourself. You're afraid to be who you are right now. Fully, like, in motion, fully not perfect, just where you are right now, ever evolving. The kind of woman that I am right now, and what I'm saying right now, when I look back 5 years from now, I'm probably gonna be like, oh my gosh, like, I feel differently. I'm very different than I was 5 years ago. And you know what I would normally do, and what I've done so many times? I would delete my video, because I'd be like, well, that's not me anymore. And I would like hate that past version of myself, and I would only want to have visible what I thought was perfect or lovable or good enough. No, it is safe for you to be seen. It is safe for you to be you. It is safe for you to come on board and be fully yourself. Yes, your honest feelings. Yes, your hurts. Yes, your wounds. Yes, your brokenness. Yes, your secrets. Yes, those things that you don't want anybody to know. Yes, those things that you're so afraid to let out into the light. But isn't it interesting? The second we let something out into the light in an appropriate way with the right people, then the dross, the whatever that's holding us back can be burned away. And then we can vibrantly come on board and be all that we were meant to be, and have some people freaking hate us and some people love us. Some people celebrate the fact that we're fully turned on and fully alive, and that gives them the permission to do that too. Or they're gonna have the haters that are gonna like wanna just take you down. Like the crabs that, you ever hear that story when you put a bunch of crabs, I've never done this, but I'm just going by what people say. If you put a bunch of crabs inside of a boiling pot and one of them tries to get out and escape, the other ones will take it down, because there are just some people on this planet that can't get past what's going on in their nervous system. They don't know how to go through the transformational process of excavating that inner world, getting on board with the nervous system, asking the right questions, breaking the habits of thought, breaking the patterns of behavior to become a different person, to lead a different life of full expression. This is what I'm here to do. So going back to identity, it's not because you can't move forward. You're not staying in this place of like paralyzation or procrastination because you literally can't move forward because you're not smart enough, because you need more information. It's just because you're afraid. On some level, you're afraid of the exposure, you're afraid of success, whatever. Okay, that's all you need to really do right now. That's all. If you get anything out of this video, just go, okay, great awareness. Now what do I do? Aha, this is where I come in. Okay, so we learned a lot of this stuff early on, right? If you are really talented, people might be jealous. If you're being really expressive, someone might want to shut you down. If you're really confident and you say things like, I know I can do it, someone might go, oh, that's not very humble, right? So we adapt. So we end up adapting a lot of the time to our environment because we want to belong. We want to belong. But what happens? What happens when you are a chameleon and you adapt to what everybody wants you to do is you will feel stuck. You will suffer because you are not being your fully alive, turned on, fully alive self. All right? So we need to shift this. We need to shift this because I don't want you to avoid, and I don't want you to miss out on opportunities, on your income expansion, on aligned relationships, on the best sex that you've ever had in your life, on the most juiciest life that you could ever even imagine, on the creative expression that needs to just explode out of you, on your leadership abilities, or whatever it is that lies inside of you that might be dormant inside of you. I don't want your life to get smaller. I want it to get more expansive, which is personalized for you. All right? So here's what I want everyone to understand. Your bigness, your light, that's not the problem. That's not the problem at all. Not at all. It's And like I said before, reading this book, your success, your ability to make tons of money, having millions of dollars or whatever it is, and this doesn't necessarily mean you have to have millions of dollars, but I'm just saying, like, your abundance, it does not take away from anybody else. Your becoming, your expansion, it's going to give other people their permission to be able to do the same thing. When you speak honestly, when you stop hiding, when you create boldly, when you express boldly, when you step out, when you step forward, when you really tell the truth and you just tell people like what's really going on for you. And you don't hide who you are anymore because you're trying to fit in or you're trying to be perfect. And that gives someone else the permission to do that too. So, oh boy, I just love this. Where I want to go from here is what I want people to realize is that we all have the ability to move forward. We all have the ability, like if you have something in your mind and you've envisioned in your mind, like some kind of dream, what is that dream? What is that thing? Do you have like a dream job, a dream relationship, or a dream place that you want to be, right? And if you're not there right now, then why? Why are you not there? You don't think it's possible. You don't think you deserve it. It could be all kinds of different things. How do we shift out from where we are to that place of where we want to go? It's possible, but you need a structure. You need a structure for living differently. You need a framework. You need a roadmap. You need tangible action steps. You need tangible behaviors to be able to help you. It's not just like, I don't know. Have you ever been in a place like that before where you're like, okay, I can feel a certain amount of stuckness or frustration or aggravation or suffering or hopelessness or going around the same mountain over and over again. And then you're just like, I don't know why I can't figure this out. And then you shame yourself and you judge yourself and you try harder and you try all these different things. And then you escape into alcohol because you feel like shit about yourself. And then, we need a framework to move from self-abandonment to self-expression, from fear to alignment, from invisibility to embodiment. And this is exactly what I teach people to do. Okay, so yes, I am going to get into my method. So it is called the CREATE method, and it's an acronym. CREATE, CREATE. CREATE method. And it stands for number 1, connect, number 2, release, number 3, express, number 4, align, number 5, transform, number 6, embodiment. This is a process. It's not like you go through this in one day, although you totally can go through this process in one day, 1 week. You can go through it over and over and over and over and over. It's a framework that I use to help people to move through a transformation. A transformation, a true living, breathing transformation. Going from someone who is living paycheck to paycheck to someone who's living in abundance. Going from someone who couldn't talk to people without her face turning bright red, absolutely self-conscious to the core. I can't even begin to tell you the level of low self-worth, insecurity, and self-doubt that have been with me my entire life, to now being able to lead groups of people. How does that happen? It doesn't happen overnight, but it happens through a framework. It happens through behavior change, identity change, changing your limiting beliefs. It happens over time, and it can happen when you surround yourself and get into an environment of where the soil is fertile and you have support. All right. So through my method, I help people to become this fully expressed person that they want to be. Now, there are a bazillion methods out there, a bazillion frameworks out there. This is my method, all right? Because we can go on the internet, we can go on ChatGPT, we can basically type in and get any information that we want right now. It's at our fingertips. We can get a course, we can get a book, we can listen to a podcast. But are you transforming? You can go to a seminar for an entire weekend and be like, rah, rah, yes, yes, I'm going to go and I'm going to change my body. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to do it. And do you? And maybe you do, and that's great. But maybe you're someone that truly doesn't know. Maybe you just don't know how. You don't know how to go through the transformation. You don't know how to get from here to there. You don't know how to sustain it, keep it. You don't know how to start. I know how. I don't know how I know how, but I know how. Like, it's something that I am an expert in, is transformation. I've transformed walls with paint. I've turned them into murals. I've transformed people with paint. I've transformed a lot of things artistically, which is also now translating into, I have transformed myself so many times. I've ascended, I've transcended, I have evolved out of so many patterns that I should not be alive. Actually, with my history of addiction and eating disorder and low self-worth, I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. But it's because I know how to tackle these things to the root. I know how to tackle them to the root. I know the questions to ask. I know the framework to walk people through. And I have the empathy, the compassion, and the patience, and the ability to create certain programs, journaling questions, frameworks, communities, to be able to help people actually break habits and to transform and to become who they were created to be and to feel it. That's the thing. Can you get a feeling from ChatGPT? Do you get that feeling of embodiment and freedom? Maybe for a moment, but what about for a lifetime? All right. Awareness doesn't actually always change your identity. You have to have an identity transformation. Understanding, the Bible talks about this. Knowledge avails us. No, I don't think it's a Bible. It's actually in the big book of 12 Steps Anonymous. Knowledge avails us nothing. We can have knowledge, but do we have wisdom? There's a difference between knowledge. You can stockpile yourself with knowledge. You can read a bazillion books, but do you have wisdom? Do you have the wisdom to apply things, to embody, to not just talk about patience, but to become patient, to not just talk about someone who is self-sovereign, but you are the epitome of someone who is self-sovereign. Structure does this, support does this, behavior change does this, practice does this, repetition does this. I have this to help people. Okay, so if this is landing for you, I'm going to close. If this is landing for you, if at all you're resonating with any of this, if you're noticing any of this in yourself, if you're seeing yourself in any of this, you maybe, I'm dimming my light, I'm shrinking, I'm sick of this, I don't want to do this anymore, and you on some level feel like you resonate with me, you like my energy, you trust me, I don't know, you want to get on a call with me and just talk and kind of feel into what it is that I offer, by all means, please. I want you to give yourself permission to just go in faith and trust that this could be an open door for you into your next level of yourself. And I would literally just be a conduit there as someone who's lived this and has been gifted in this to be able to facilitate something for you. All right. So this is the work that I do with people. It's a lived transformation process. I call it the CREATE method because I'm an artist and I just thought it sounded so cool. And if you want any kind of support, I offer a number of different kinds of support, one-on-one, a community, email support, and through these, you could just listen to a bunch of YouTube videos as well. But even if you don't choose to work with me, then I just want to leave you with this. You're not behind, you're not too much, you're not broken. You're not a procrastinator, you're not an avoidant. You're not lazy. No, you're not. You're a child of God. You're amazing. You're capable. You're strong. You just maybe learn some things and you can unlearn them if you want. You don't have to. You don't have to. You could very well likely right now be standing on the very edge, on the precipice of your life changing. We're always going to be changing. That's the thing. We're never going to arrive. We're not going to arrive anywhere, okay, in this lifetime as humans. But you could be standing on the precipice of some tangible transformation in your life. And oh boy, would I love to facilitate that, to help you. If we align, if it's meant to be, then I completely trust it. Then it would be an honor, and I would feel an immense amount of gratitude to be able to help you to get to the next level. I just want to land on this paragraph one more time and then end with a quote. Oh, God has an unlimited supply, and everyone has equal access to this. This will begin to clear up the guilt and pressure and anxiety, perhaps, or fear about having or getting too much. Since every single person on this planet can draw upon the universal supply, we deprive no one with our abundance and our success. We deprive no one. In fact, it gives other people permission. It gives other people permission, and eventually they come to us and say, thank you for showing me. Thank you for showing me that like we're all the same. We're all the same at the end of the day. And then the last thing, there's a quote, and this is from the Artist's Way book. I'm on page 92. It says, expect your every need to be met. Expect the answer to every problem. Expect abundance on every level. Expect to grow spiritually. This is a quote by Eileen Caddy. So beautiful. One reason we are miserly with ourselves is because of scarcity thinking. We don't want our luck to run out. We don't want to overspend our spiritual abundance. We are limiting our flow by anthropomorphizing God into a capricious parent figure, remembering that God is our source, an energy flow that likes to extend itself. We become more able to tap our creative power effectively. And I said I was gonna be done there, but God has lots of money. God has lots of movie ideas, novel ideas, poems, songs, paintings, acting jobs. God has a supply of love, friends, houses that are available to us. So listen to the Creator within, and you'll be led to your right path. On that path, you'll find friends, lovers, money, and meaningful work. Very often, we cannot seem to find an adequate supply. It is because we are insisting on a particular human source of supply. We must learn to let the flow manifest itself where it will, not where we will it. So basically, get on board with your higher power, God, whatever you want to call it. Here's to your abundance. Here's to my abundance. May it overflow. May it completely overflow and never stop overflowing. And may you not feel a shred of guilt for getting all the goodness in the world that makes you able to do more good, to spread more love, and to be able to bring about more of your gifts and talents that you were gifted. May you be able to tap into those gifts and talents in a way that you never have before in your life. May you feel the permission to unleash your life force energy and your talents and your gifts in an unabashed, unapologetic way, like little children do when they just put on a Superman outfit and they think they're Superman and they think they can fly. They don't like say sorry for any of it. They fully take the life by the horns, and at some point we shrink and we diminish ourselves and we think that it's not possible for us, but I'm here to shake that shit up, okay? So join me in my next video. I love you. Here's to your abundance. Bye.